everybody is born with a little something extra, and sometimes they just have to find it. A little something extra is that superpower that every single one of us has inside that motivates us and drives our passion and makes us do the things that we do.
We're all on the same team. Let's think about how we can make that team as inclusive as we can.
For those of you listening to our podcast right now, you can also check out our video podcast at alittlesomethingextrapodcast.org.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Little Something Extra with me, Nancy Gianni, and my daughter, who?
Where's the Gigi's microphone?
Yeah, where's the Gigi's microphone?
She's sitting
on it. Now, what's your name again?
There you go.
The Gigi.
Oh, there she is. Okay, and who else do we have with us?
And the Franco.
And the Franco.
I've deserved this.
Yeah.
I've done enough co-hosting now where I'm the Franco now too.
It's about time. Well, we are so beyond excited. I have been waiting to talk to these guys since October 25th, I think, once I first found out about their beautiful baby being born with Down syndrome. So Franco, give us an intro so we can get right to it.
Yes, and I will give an intro. I mean, there's really no better intro than once we actually get the guests talking about themselves.
Totally.
But I'll try to do my best here. So we are thrilled to welcome Miami Marlins third baseman, Jake Burger, along with his wife, Ashlyn Burger. So Ashlyn and Jake recently welcomed a new baby girl with Down syndrome into this world. And that was this past October, I believe October 25th. So Jake is now the only active player in the MLB with a child with Down syndrome.
Really?
At least according to Ashlyn's Instagram. So we might have to check
awesome.
them on that. And then Jake's wife, Ashlyn, is also an entrepreneur. She works in real estate, and she started a real estate brokerage called Archive Homes. And now together, Jake and Ashlyn are putting together these skills and the energy into raising their two beautiful children. So welcome to the show, you guys. We are so excited to have you.
Woo!
We're honored to be here.
Very excited.
Oh my
Thanks
God.
for having us.
What an incredible blessing. I am so excited to get started. And I heard you guys had a prenatal diagnosis. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Right around 10 weeks when we did gender.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
All right, girl. You guys tell me the story. I want to hear it all.
So we did our, what is it called? The NIPT, the early prenatal testing to find out the gender. And when I opened it was always on FaceTime, right? Jake was playing, I was home. And so I had him his little video camera next to me, and I open up the email and I read it, and I'm like, T21, 99%.
It was in an email?
Yeah, it was in an email.
Get out.
A prenatal
Yeah, the email's
diagnosis.
faster than the doctor these days. She called 3 days later. And so I opened it up. I Googled it really quickly, and I said 99% T21 Down syndrome. I'm like, okay. So Jake calls, and I go, hey, you ready? And he goes, yep. And I'm like, okay, we're having a little girl. And he's like, no way. And I go, yes. And she's going to have Down syndrome. And he looks at me and goes, okay, and? I'm like, what do you mean, okay, and? He goes, okay,
All right.
and?
I love it.
And I was like, well, there's a lot. There's a lot more that goes with this. There's a lot. And he goes, okay, and? What are you, it doesn't matter.
Amazing.
I was like, you're right. It really doesn't matter, but there's just so much that I don't know, and we don't know, and a lot more to learn. And actually, the hormones, trying not to cry. And so that was exactly how we found out. And so my OB called me, like I said, a couple days later, and she's like, hey, we need to talk about this. And I was like, no, we're good. And she's like, you have a 99%. We need to do an amniocentesis. I'm like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't need to do anything. This is our daughter. She has Down syndrome. Fantastic.
Wow.
And that was it. And she's like, are you sure you read that right? And I was like, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're good to go. What's next?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That's so cool. And honestly, what a way to get that diagnosis. We hear so many families coming in, and I don't know how far you've done in your research about the diagnosis or anything, but so many families at Gigi's come in, and every time they get that diagnosis, they're met with this very somber expression on the doctor's face, your life is over, and it just terrifies these
how
families.
much time you have to terminate is the
Yeah.
next thing. That is, you have
Right.
this amount of time to terminate.
And the fact that you got to get it, and you're like, okay, well, it's in an email, so it's just all right. So this is what we got. So now we can formulate our own opinion. how do we want to approach this? Like, it's not, you don't automatically get met with like someone else's negative worldview on the diagnosis and that energy. Yes. And so, yeah, I'm really, really happy that you guys were able to at least take it however you wanted to.
Yeah.
So
And I
that's
think
really
we're super fortunate in that sense also. I mean, maybe not from finding out via email, but even my doctor, like once I went in, the next week to do, more testing and make sure everything was good, check the heartbeat, all that stuff. She was so positive too. And she's like,
That's
you
so awesome.
like have no idea how lucky you are about to be. And they call you guys the lucky few. And she was one of the first people that like was like so warm and like embracive about it and made me feel so confident and feel so and feel so great. So, but like you said, you're right. Like we got to make our minds up ourselves and not have this preconception from what somebody else's opinion would be.
Right. Yeah. At first I was like, email, that's cold. But you know what? You're right. Because the negativity, and mine was, I found out after she was born. And the negativity around that was so strong. I mean, like everybody saying they're sorry. And I'm like, I'm holding her like, oh my God, I have a baby right here. Like there was all these condolences and not the congratulations that I had with my other kids. So what a blessing that you guys kept it amongst yourselves, that you guys had each other to lean on, which I know you're still blindsided. It's still like, oh, whoa, okay, great. I got this, but what does that mean? What's going to be different? What, because you guys have you have a son?
Yes.
And how old's your son?
2-year-old.
Two. Okay, perfect. That's how my Bella is 2 years older than Gigi. And then, and her and Franco you guys are 6 years apart? 6 years apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, oh my gosh.
I guess after having 4 kids, you don't realize how old your kids are.
We hope to follow those steps. We're thinking, okay, well, by the fourth one will probably be forgotten. And
exactly.
Yeah. Definitely wasn't. But yes, that definitely can happen.
But sure. What a blessing. Jake I'm sorry.
Gigi actually had a question that actually really
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gigi.
Right back into you said I would want to keep her invested in this podcast because we always get carried away in our conversations and feel bad. Gigi gets left
Get your
out.
microphone. Is that one?
The second question. Yeah. The second one you put on there.
How does Tucson feel about having a big sister?
He loves her so much. We were honestly really nervous. But when we brought her home for the first time, he brought all of his stuffed animals, gave them to her. Kate keeps trying to snuggle next to her, and it's crazy seeing a newborn next to a 2-year-old because you realize how big the 2-year-old is now.
Yeah, right.
And it's dude, your head's the size of her body, so let's chill with the cuddles a little bit.
Right.
But no, he's an unbelievable, caring and sweet brother, and always wants to read her stories and always bring her along.
Yep, I knew somebody like that. Continue to do it to this day. They are best buddies. He takes her downtown partying in the city. It's ridiculous what these two do together now. So now
22.
So of course Gigi has her own, and you guys could Google it when we're done. She has her own drinking rules that she made up when she was with her brother. So listen to those drinking rules. Yeah, just Google Gigi's drinking.
Let us know what you think about those.
It's
all right.
It's pretty funny. And then think about Penelope in 21 years making her own drinking rules. It's crazy. When I think about when she was, and for anybody who's only listening, I would say tune in to YouTube and look at the podcast because seeing her beautiful face, I mean, she is gorgeous.
A little bow
she is so gorgeous. And look at her. She's sleeping like a little angel. Going, I'm going to be nice and quiet for mommy and daddy during this time. But so that sibling component is so strong and so real. Every when people talk about my kids, I'm always like, I could have never made them who they are. It was her. It was her, the way that she was and her, who she is, how they had to look out for her because they chose to. But I thought about you, Jake, because, just the way you were in the diagnosis, kind of, that's how Franco was with his sister. And I remember he was playing Little League and they're playing baseball. Franco's, and he went to Catholic school and he was on a team with most of the public school kids, which he kind of knew, but didn't know them too much because he was
second grade,
third grade, he was little. So I'm watching the whole bench and they're all sitting there. They don't know us. They don't know our family. And all of a sudden, Gigi, I just see her walk, she walks through the dugout and these kids are kind of like, seeing here comes this kid with Down syndrome, just like they don't know what they should do. You know what I did? And all of a sudden,
why is this girl walking into our dugout?
Right, as a girl, yeah. And then all of a sudden, Franco just stands up and he goes, and I'm never going to forget this. He just goes, "Oh, Gigi," and he put his hands on her little face and kissed her on the forehead. And all the kids goes, "Oh, cool, it's Franco's sister." And then it was just Franco's sister. It wasn't a kid with Down syndrome anymore. It was Franco's sister. And it was all in the way that he reacted to her. And that's what I love about what you've done, Jake, because I feel like the way you've reacted is showing other people how they should react when they hear this diagnosis. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's something to celebrate. And it's a gift from God. And the fact that that's the way you took it at, just such a scary time, because you just don't even know what that means, is really amazing and life-changing for other people who are on this journey. So I love what you've done, brother. I just think it's amazing. And I love sharing this story because of that, because of your strength, because of your wife, and because of the fact that you are celebrating from day one, from the time this baby was, only 10 weeks developing, you guys have been celebrating her. And that's just so special.
We appreciate that. I think our relationship and having her as my rock, made it a lot easier. But I think it's like you said, it's a gift from God, totally. Having this diagnosis. And, I think the biggest thing is like, you never know what God's plan is. Totally. And we're really quick to judge on anything, right? We look at the here and now and the micro, and who knows what anything looks like, a month from now, 2 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
And so it's like, let's embrace it because God gave us this perfect child, and let's go from there. And I think that's how we should look at all of our children, and I don't think there should be any disparity.
No. And what we tell everybody, sorry, Gigi has a cold over here, so she's unrolling the toilet paper to blow her nose. But we tell everybody, this is, all of us are 1 second away from being different or loving someone who's different. Could be the birth of a child or a grandchild, a fall off of a bike, a diagnosis. Differences do not discriminate, and they are seconds away. And we just need to live in a world. We need to create a world that accepts everybody as they are. And you doing that, brother, from the minute you guys the minute you got this diagnosis is really going to help a lot of people, normalizing it.
So we've getting the diagnosis was one thing. I mean, and I think it was probably that night we were on the phone and I was, emotional, what does it look like, right? Am I going to be able to do all these things with her? Are you going to be able to walk her down the aisle? And he's like, why in the world would we ever limit her?
Right.
And God gave us a really huge purpose. He's like, I don't know if anyone else has a child with Down syndrome. I mean, there was one baseball player who I'll butcher his name because I'm not a baseball person.
Pujols.
Well, Pujols, was like the main person back.
Yeah. And so he's like, but I think that has been it. And he's like, I think God's doing something really, really, really special here. And so we kind of did a little bit more research and we were like, whoa, you're the only one. So cool. And there's no reason on this earth that it was not Jake was so chosen for this.
Totally.
Because of that and his platform. And we were like, we can make so many other people feel the way we have in sharing our experience.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when we did make the announcement, that's why we wanted to wait until we were able to announce with People Magazine. And, we had to wait with the election and the timeline and all that. So I want to get it lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, amongst other things that are occurring. And we both got thousands of messages of people who were not only welcome to the lucky few, you have no idea how lucky you are, but I'm pregnant, I haven't told my family, I'm nervous, I'm nervous to walk in a Target and see and people judge her or look at him. And the fact that you guys were open with your story at such a public level makes me feel comfortable. Tonight I have the courage to go tell my mom and
family.
dad.
Yes.
And then dad, and I get goosebumps every time I talk about it because I'm that's exactly why we wanted to be as scream it from the rooftops of how proud we were that we were chosen to be her parents.
Amazing.
So that other people could have just a little bit of the same sense of like comfortability that we did.
Yeah. And that's what's so important is just being able to normalize and celebrating a child regardless of that diagnosis. And that was a really big part of originally why you wanted to have Gigi's Playhouse in the first place. Is just to be able to have a space where these families could, because like back then there wasn't the internet, at least in the way that it is now, where you could be able to share these stories. And then you can seek comfort from those others that are out there sharing the stories like you're doing. And so originally it was like, okay, well, we need a place to be able to go to be able to, you know, celebrate, share the stories and realize that like, it's really not that different. It's just life. And so it's so cool that you already are being able to have that opportunity to be able to help other people as well in this journey. And then also having them be able to help you in being able to, you know, to grow and all the amazing opportunities that are out there and just be able to show you that there's so much that people with Down syndrome can do and their families can do, and that there's really no limitations in that.
Yes.
So we're excited for you guys.
Your guys' package that you sent us.
Oh, you guys did get it too.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I wasn't sure if you guys got it yet.
I'm a little slow to open things right now. And I was reading through the magazine and I was sitting on the couch crying, and Jake's like, "Why are you crying?" Like, these stories are just like, these need to be like screamed from the
rooftop. Exactly.
Like, this is like incredible. Like, I mean, it's just so touching, and it made everything feel so normal too.
Yeah.
Right. Like, people will always have those doubts and those questions. And like, when you get the diagnosis, I think a lot, like prenatally at least, and I'm sure after, is you kind of go, well, what does this life look like? Right. Like, is she gonna be able to get married? Is she going to have a relationship? I literally, every time I see Gigi and her boyfriend's reels, I cry, because I'm like, I want my daughter to have that and find that person. And I want to be the one being like, you better be careful driving her, or I'll come find you.
Yes, that's right. Every time. Yes.
Yeah. It's like, those things are the things that need to be shared to everybody.
Agreed.
Definitely. I'm really happy that you took the magazine like that too. When I was putting that thing together, that was always what was going through my mind, is like, people need to realize that all of this is normal.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, when you're, you know, scared and vulnerable in that moment where you don't know what the future looks like, being able to have something like that to look at and be like, wow, this guy is getting engaged to his lifelong girlfriend, or, you know, being able to share the stories of people and their careers and starting businesses. And so I'm really happy that you were able to see it the way that, you know, we were hoping people would.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that.
And put together by a sibling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Made with love by a sibling, that all he wants to do. I mean, Franco, when we started Gigi's Playhouse, he drew our very first logo back when he was 6 years old. He drew our first logo, and it was about, we need to have the old school logo here. The Gigi's Playhouse is still the same, but it was 4 kids all with their hands together, 4 little stick kids all holding hands, because that's what he wanted for his sister, just friends and a great life and love. And it's so beautiful to see, you know, 21 years later, here he is still figuring out, how do I continue to do that for her? How do I still open up this world for her? And like we say at Gigi's, we've spent, you know, the last 21 years getting our individuals with Down syndrome ready for the world. It is now time to get the world ready for them, because there's still a lot of lost opportunities. There's still a lot of work that we have to do. And I love, you know, when you were talking about how many people came to you, you know, thousands of people reached out to you. It reminded me, like, when a family comes here with their baby for the first time and they come to a Gigi's Playhouse, and that, you know, they come here kind of deer in the headlights look, not sure, you know, what the world is like. And Gigi's, I don't know if you guys have ever been in one. It's like Disneyland. Like, it's crazy awesome. It's a place full of empowerment, and there's always music pumping. It's just the complete opposite of the sterile environment that you get in the hospital or anywhere else. That, you know, it's an amazing place. The siblings go crazy, but the parents still don't really know. And they kind of come in with that deer in the headlights look, and then they sit down, and then they learn that, you know what, we're here for you every step of the way. We are going to give you the tools that your child needs to succeed, from prenatal diagnosis through career skills. We're here for our families every step of the way. They walk out of here, you guys, but then the next week or the next day, whenever they come back, they are now helping that next family. The way that our families give back to each other is the beauty of all of it. And that's what you did. You had that baby, and then you shared your story and gave it back and gave everybody that hope, gave everybody that empowerment. That's the most important thing we can do for our kids. I mean, I think that,
for the whole community too.
Yeah. It's like what Franco did. Just, it's my sister. Kiss her on the forehead and make it, that people are going to take your lead. And that I always knew people were going to take my lead. So I wasn't going to go home. And I was blindsided by the diagnosis. I had no idea. I mean, completely blindsided. I had 2 level 2 ultrasounds before that because I had weird like protein in my urine. They found nothing. And then she's born with 2 holes in her heart and Down syndrome. I'm like, what? Like, how could, I had no clue. And it just being blindsided like that, just knowing, okay, well, I have my other kids at home and they are going to take my lead. My family's going to take my lead. So even though they kept sending in the clergy, they were wanting to pray for me, pray for her, that, nurses and doctors no longer had eye contact with me. I was all of a sudden that family. And I remember thinking, the feeling, and I know that they took good care of me medically, but I remember thinking, what they're putting on me right now, I can't put on them. I can't bring that home to them or to anybody else. You got to put on that strong face because that's how everyone's going to see her. And I wanted them to see strength. I wanted them to see the amazing baby that she was and not the Down syndrome. That should never come first in our kids.
No.
And that's, I love that you put yourself out there and you guys did this. It's amazing. It's awesome. And it's going to be game changing. And we want to do more with you guys to spread the word. Cause I think it's such an important place. We've got a place in where's our Miami Playhouse? We just opened our 61st location, you guys. Isn't that insane? Our next one, it's insane. Our next one opens in Charleston next month, which is how fun is Charleston?
South Miami, I think.
It's insane.
I can't remember the name.
Oh, I can't remember.
I've never been to it.
Can one of you guys look up where Gigi's Playhouse? Miami. It's Miami.
We're talking behind the scenes, not you.
Yeah, it's Miami.
You guys can look it up too.
Yeah, it's Miami something. Miami Water. It's not Waters, but it's something. Miami Lakes. No. Is there a thing called Miami Lakes?
To be honest,
it is Miami.
We don't really know.
Do you know that the Nashville one is not very far from us?
They're in so you guys are in Nashville full
We're
time.
our home.
Oh,
is
you guys
Nashville.
live in Nashville.
Full time. But you
Woo-hoo.
play these on Marlins, yeah.
But we're in Miami for probably more than we are actually at home.
I'm in Miami for 9 months and 3 months in Nashville. But
Oh my gosh, that's tough. That
So
is
we
tough.
really visit Nashville from October through February.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's so funny. What was the reason you guys chose Nashville?
So my agency has like a facility that they basically let us use for free.
Nice.
And I really liked the guys I was working out with and talked her into moving here. And we just kind of fell in love with
I mean, it's a phenomenal city.
everything
Yeah.
Nashville.
It's so awesome.
It's beautiful, like natural landscape.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
yeah, it's gorgeous.
Amazing. Where were you guys both from originally? Where'd you grow up?
California.
Ah, you too,
St.
Jake?
Louis.
Oh, you were St. Louis.
In California. Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gigi, do you have a question in here about them as well?
I know she has a couple. Okay, get your microphone.
Well, you have
Sorry, she has a cold. She's out of it today.
She's very out of it today.
That's not fun.
Yeah, not.
I'm
She had-
feeling better.
you are feeling better?
It's
Good.
cold.
She doesn't like to,
It's cold.
she says she's feeling better because her boyfriend's sitting out there and she wants to be able to go out after the podcast.
I don't blame her. It's a good going out outfit she's got.
Oh, right? I know. All right, go ahead, boo.
What do you like doing in your free time?
Oh, good question.
A great question. Well, right now my free time really consists of feeding Penelope and making sure Bush doesn't climb on the staircase. So I would say that's what I do in my free time. I do enjoy both things. Here Brooks doesn't hit her with a baseball bat on accident is also currently on my top priority list.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like movie night,
Oh yeah.
like family movie night.
Aw.
I love movie night.
Yeah.
It's fun.
That and then for me, probably video games.
No,
Yeah.
Video games for Jake.
Mhm. Franco's like, yep.
Very nice.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, I would have to imagine. We're both 28. I get it. What are we playing nowadays?
I kind of FIFA and Apex Legends are like the two games that I
Apex.
kind of
Okay.
go. Yeah.
That's the battle royale you stick with?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm kind of out on COD lately, so
It's too
you know,
repetitive.
yeah. hmm
I hear you. Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right, go ahead, Gigi.
Geez, the question I was talking about, so we were relating back to the conversation earlier, was the fourth one.
How did you meet each other?
Oh,
It was
geez.
a fantastic
It's a really good story.
So I was living in Florida. I lived in Florida the last 6 years before we moved here.
Okay.
And my best friend was going to a wedding for another baseball player with her boyfriend, and they were staying at my house. And her boyfriend called right before the rehearsal dinner and was like, "Hey, we're running late. Is it okay if like another groomsman comes and showers at my house, like at your house, and gets ready, and then we all go to the rehearsal dinner?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so I had come home that day from my office, and as I'm walking through the front door, Jake is walking out of my guest bathroom in a towel.
Oh.
That's funny.
Rest is history.
Yep. Like, I'm going to marry that man.
Yes, yep. And then his mom followed me on Instagram that night.
Yeah, still
Oh,
upset
what?
with my mom about that. Still really upset about that with my mom.
Yep.
I'd be
So
so pissed
like-
if you did that.
Then you knew that she would,
He
yeah.
said he knew I was the one, love at first sight, and it was very true.
That's hilarious. So you just like told your mom like I showered
Yeah,
at this girl's
I met this
Met this
girl.
girl.
and I think I'm gonna marry her, and then she took that as following her on Instagram hours after I met her. But then I call her and I'm like, "Mom, what are you doing?" And she's like, "I don't even know what I did."
That's hilarious.
Like, oh no.
That's
Like the one rule.
yeah.
You hope like your friends don't do, like you tell your friends like, "Oh, I just met like this awesome girl," and you're like, "But don't follow her. I don't
Yeah.
want her to know that I'm talking
They don't
about
tell
her."
me anyone's name. And
And
Bella's
mom
like,
does it.
Bella, if I go, then show me who it is. Like, I'll be like, I still want to know. And she's like, don't touch it. Don't touch it. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Don't like any photos.
Yeah, she gave it right away. Really
Right away.
Yeah.
Hey, at the end of the day, though, you got to thank her.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this happened.
I pushed it along, you know,
Right?
like
Yeah,
there
if
wasn't
anything.
any back and forth or anything. It was like
She never had to question if you were interested. Clearly, you were talking about her.
jumping in full.
It was just a done deal. Oh my
That's
gosh.
fantastic. So, how long have you guys been together then for?
almost 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Weird.
awesome.
So, is that when you were in Chicago?
Yeah. I was with the White Sox. The player's wedding that we went to was Dane Dunning. He was
Oh,
my
with the
gosh.
White Sox for a little bit as well, and now he's with Texas. But yeah, that was my Chicago era days.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations to you on getting out when you did.
Yeah.
Missed out on the worst season in history.
Yes.
A lot of memories in Chicago though, and I've been
Yeah.
craving their lemonade at Guaranteed Rate since we got traded, and of
So
course
good.
I one right before, and now we haven't been back in 2 years. It's been actually very difficult for me.
Yeah, it was really interesting because it wasn't like we were getting traded from Chicago to like another like New York or a major Midwest city or something
Yeah.
like that. It's such a different culture when you go to Miami from Chicago, and it's like
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I think we're really glad that we got to experience like both of the cities like in their fullest form, and like it's such like an interesting culture in Chicago, and then such an interesting culture in Miami that you kind of get to see. That's why I'm so fortunate to play this game, is like
It's really
I get to
cool.
see every single city and every single culture in different areas of the country that otherwise I wouldn't be able to do.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
We're gonna have to start actually maybe pit stopping at all the GG playhouses.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
We do have a
Yes.
lot of them in most of the cities. We're in most major
61.
markets.
I
Yes.
mean, there's bound to be in almost every ballpark. city
Yes,
then.
totally is. I know, isn't that
Oh yeah,
insane?
we're covering almost all of them.
Yeah.
I remember cross-referencing it. Yeah.
You guys, it's
My-
so crazy.
It's a funny story. Is my sister? She's a special education teacher, and her fiance's little brother has Down syndrome, and he's been a part of our life for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
And
wow.
he and so when we got the diagnosis, my sister was like, "Oh, cool! So you guys can start going to GG Playhouses."
Oh.
I was like, "Yeah." And then when you guys had reached out about doing the podcast, she was the first person I told, and she's like, no way. Are you kidding? Like, she was fangirling. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I want to tell you because I remember you telling me we got to start going to GG places.
Yeah.
I'm like, I kind of get to talk to her.
How
And
cool
my
is
sister
that?
is like fangirling over the whole situation.
That is so funny. That is so awesome.
Where does she live? Which
She
playoffs?
lives in California still.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
we're trying to convince her to move.
This way.
Oh,
move
Okay.
to DC.
So
Yeah.
was she going to like the one out
We've got-
in
we got
Sacramento?
we got Sacramento, Orange County, San Diego, and
Or Orange County.
Orange County.
Okay.
That's a cool one. We just opened in Simi Valley too. Like
Oh, wow.
recent. Number 60 was Simi
What
Valley.
was it?
Yeah.
July or
I
August?
think that's where Cam goes.
Yeah.
That's where they live in Simi Valley.
Okay.
Oh, very cool.
Beautiful.
I know, isn't that crazy?
That's so cool.
Yeah. And these babies, like they're such perfection, but something I think about that I tell because look at her. I mean, like, could she be any more perfect? Absolutely not.
No,
And this
I don't think.
no. We talk about like at this age, it's so hard because they're, the harder we are on them, the stronger they're going to be. You know what I mean? So this is what I tell every new parent that comes in here is just because, some things are going to be harder for them to do. And by just not enabling them, letting them fight for it and be able to do it, they become so much stronger. And it's so hard because like grandma and grandpa, like we have a lot of grandma and grandpa, aunts and uncles, everybody comes to Gigi's and the siblings are always here. It's a full family place. And then you watch them come in here and be like, oh, we don't vacuum when she's sleeping or we do this or that. I'm like, oh, hell no. You got to do everything, expose her to everything.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Gigi, I was like, no, we don't, you get your own seatbelt on. There's 3 other kids here. Get your seatbelt on. Tie your shoe, whatever it is, have that expectation that they're going to do it. And then the siblings aren't going to,
I didn't let Gigi get away with anything.
no, they were brutal to her. Still
Like,
are.
You need to keep up.
Yep.
I remember we'd be like fishing a lot. Like I used to fish constantly, I still do. But and Gigi would be like sitting by me, like by the pond, and like she would want to fish too. I'm like, all right, bait your hook, and like she's like clawing through the worms, like trying to put this thing together. She's like 2. like, we can do it. But ultimately, though, I think that's kind of the whole point, though, is like the siblings. I really like. Obviously, I protect her and baby her in certain ways and let her get away with certain things. But for the most part, though, yeah, just making sure that you keep up. It's really important. I think like that hover parenting style or
helicopter
parenting
Yeah.
is important in some ways. You want to be able to protect your child, and especially when you have a young child.
Talk about a helicopter parent. When he was a baby, you guys seriously? Because then when I had him, I couldn't get pregnant for 4 more years. I literally used to peel his grapes and his hot dogs up until he was 4 years old. Legit. How bad is that? Talk about a freaky. Is she bad too?
Yeah, she's convinced that Brooks is gonna stay in our house
Forever
and never.
Don't you? I wanted that too. And then
I'll step in at some point. but-
That's right.
He's 2 right
He's
now.
2.
He's okay.
Yeah.
The videos of the psycho like in-law, and she's like, "You didn't name your baby after me. That's going to be me."
Yeah, I'm like, no, we're cutting that out.
Right? I know. And then some beautiful blonde comes into his life, and I'm out. Now he's living in the city, got his girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. It's okay. I still
You
got a
got
podcast.
Jake's
I still get him for the podcast and Gigi's.
Yeah,
So.
and work. It's gonna be more than any other kid.
All right. Sorry, Gigi's not happy with us. Finish your question.
So
Sorry.
funny. She gives us this like evil eye.
Yeah, we could hear
I
that.
have questions.
Yes.
I need to ask.
Go ahead.
I am the baby whisperer guy. Meet Penelope.
Can you meet Penelope?
Yes. Oh, look at you said that and
she's
she
living.
woke up.
Wow.
Look at her. She's like, I'd love to meet Gigi. Oh my gosh,
She
look
woke
at
up
her.
just for you.
Just for you, boo. Oh my gosh, look at her. She is perfect. Oh my gosh.
She's the sweetest
Look at
little
her.
girl I've ever seen.
Look
That
at
doll is
hello,
so
beautiful
cute.
girl. Hello. You're so pretty.
She did the turtle for you.
Oh my gosh, she is doing the turtle. My favorite stretch is when they wake up and they do that turtle stretch.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. Did you do the turtle for me?
She is beautiful.
Oh my gosh, she is
I'll be
So
perfection.
happy for you.
I'll be able to figure when I meet you in June.
Yes, I can't wait. Yes, you'll be able to hold her.
Much.
We're gonna meet her. We're gonna meet them when they come here to play baseball.
Yay.
And I'm gonna hold her first.
Nope, I am.
I'm holding
Too
her
late.
first. I'm holding her first.
No, it's too late. I'm a bird but you're not.
You
Now
love
she
this
calls
girl.
herself the baby. I was the baby whisperer. She has taken my job. All right, you got any other questions or can I talk?
Not yet.
Okay.
What do you want Penelope's future look like?
I,
Can I answer?
do you want-
I'll go first. You go second.
Okay.
Or do you want to go first?
No, it's okay.
Okay, that's a good answer. Um, I want her future to look like yours. I want her to follow your footsteps. I want her to be bold and brave and beautiful and know her purpose and want to help and inspire others and make other people feel happy and comfortable and excited and know their value and their purpose. And so if she could inspire people the way you do and live her life the way you do, I would know that we did a really good job as parents.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Wow.
It's making me cry.
I know.
I top that.
Yeah.
Actually, there's
Go ahead,
nothing
Jake.
I can say that's gonna top that. So everything she said, and I think it's whatever she wants her future to be, you know,
Yes.
and help her in any way we can. So
Look at her.
you know, I think
It's a big yawn.
I don't have any other words other than what Ashlyn said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
totally
just let her
agree.
live the future that she wants too. I think
And
that's such an important piece.
And I'm telling you, when Gigi and Lucas met and the relationship that they have is so special.
He's here today. He's here.
He's here today. He wants to meet you guys, but we said
Yes,
well,
after the episode, we'll have him jump in. so you
yes,
guys
he
can meet
wants to
Lucas,
jump
too.
in,
Yeah.
but we were like, we knew if he was here during it all.
Yeah.
Gigi gets very distracted.
Yeah,
I won't.
no. But I mean, watching how beautiful and thoughtful their relationship is, how they care for each other, they care for others, how they
They
help
do.
each other from, him having autism and being more structured and, not very flexible with change or anything else, and her being able to navigate that with him and help him through that and help him grow, and then him stepping in with her, Gigi, like a lot of times will step back and let the conversation happen. He's always talking, so now she's always talking, and they are just helping each other grow in the most beautiful way. And then watching them at the house, I mean, you probably seen on social media, he'll just stare at her. And she's so beautiful, and she'll be like it's such a beautiful relationship, and so much more than I ever, and I hate to say that, thought she would I knew she would have a great life. And I think as parents you kind of protect yourself to think like, of course she can do anything, but then in your heart you're going, but it's okay if she doesn't. You know what I mean? It's okay if it goes this way, because then we protect our heart, just to whatever. So when it truly, truly happens and you see that this is forever for her, this is her forever. And I see that, and it is pretty spectacular. And to know Gigi, did you tell them about your book? Tell them.
I have I wrote a book. It's called The Gigi Way.
It's called The Gigi Way. Yes,
Wow.
you guys, I had no idea. She wrote it with her tutor. So she wrote it with her literacy tutor at Gigi's. And it's amazing. And it's going to be a social emotional learning book for ages K through 5 in K through 5th grade.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yes. I can't wait. Well, as soon
When
as
it
it
comes
gets
out, we'll make
published.
sure to send you a copy.
Yeah, we'll make sure we'll send you guys one.
Please.
And
That's
you'll autograph it for Penelope right
Yep.
there.
Yes.
Say hey. She's trying to look over there at you.
Yeah.
She's smiling. She's so cute.
So cute. Oh my gosh. So cute. Okay, do you have any more questions?
I had a question I wanted to ask Jake.
Okay.
So Jake, being a baseball player and what it looks like to be one of the only baseball players, if not the only baseball player with a child with Down syndrome, I don't know if you've been thinking about this a lot. I'm sure you have. How do you think how would you like to be able to make your impact on your daughter's life, the Down syndrome community, disability community as a whole? Do you have anything in mind that you're looking at?
Yeah, we're in discussions about a couple things. I don't know if we can
Yeah, whatever you can say.
talk about it yet. But that being said, I fully believe that God gave us to her for a reason.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting because I look back at the last 8 years of my career, and in 2018 I tore my Achilles twice and dealt with depression and anxiety for
That's
3
brutal.
years, got diagnosed with PTSD.
Oh my goodness.
I've talked about that a lot, right? And that entire time it was almost finding a purpose outside of baseball.
Mhm.
And realizing that I'm not just Jake Burger, the baseball player, but I'm Jake Burger, the person that can make a difference in a lot of people's lives. And for me, that experience of those 3 years that I went through has kind of prepped me to kind of move forward with everything. And for us, it's helping the entire community of, parents with kids with disabilities, and, just trying to be that voice in the professional sports place and area to be able to speak on behalf of as many people as I can, and help as many people as I can. And that's the ultimate goal. I don't think baseball is just a game, and I'm obviously passionate about it, but the bigger picture and the bigger purpose is helping as many people as I can. And so that's kind of how I'm always gonna take things. And I think for us, we want to have nights in Miami where kids with disabilities can come to BP and meet all the players, and feel like they have a very comfortable space, or have different events at the stadium, or outside the stadium, where I can get players and just get as much awareness and as much eyes on it as I can to help as many people as I can.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I love your perspective. Like, had you not had that other experience, would you have been ready? Would you have even been thinking about who is Jake, without the baseball part? Would you even have been thinking about that? Which I think is so cool. I mean, God was just preparing you all along for her to come and change your life and change, your purpose and who you are in this world. And I think that's like an incredible gift, because, and don't ever think too small. I mean, go big. Like, I never dreamed we would be where we are today. We serve families in 93 countries now. We do one-on-one tutoring in literacy and math on 6 continents. And everything we do is free, and we're 99% volunteer run. Tell me God's not doing that.
Right.
Tell me God's not doing that.
And there was no plan for that to be the case.
No. I just wanted her accepted.
She didn't have anything else.
I wanted her accepted in her school. I wanted her accepted in my community. That was my number one goal. And I wanted just people to celebrate the diagnosis. I just saw no need not to celebrate the most amazing people I've ever met in my life, or been blessed to be around in my life.
Yeah.
Did you guys get much of and I know you said that the last 10 years, your sister, your soon-to-be brother-in-law, I guess, has Down syndrome. Yeah. But also, like, have you guys had much exposure to people with disabilities in the past, whether it's through, like, different programs or anything like that?
No, I think really just, Cam's a very active part of our life.
Yeah.
My sister's students have always been an active part of our life.
That's awesome.
She has a classroom of 5 or 6 students that she works with for a long period of time. And we'll do charity things here or there. Over the course of the last 4 years.
Yeah.
In high school, so I went to Catholic high school in St. Louis, and one of the semesters of our junior year, we had to do some sort of community service, and the community service I chose was to help out in a special education school.
Nice.
And so, like, it's kind of crazy, like, thinking like full circle, and like how everything's like intertwined. But yeah, I was like a student assistant per se, in a classroom for an entire semester.
Cool. That's awesome.
And it was really touching for me. And so I feel like it's always been kind of interwoven in our lives,
Well, and that's why even when I started the very first playoffs, and I would talk to people like, why are you helping? Like, why are you volunteering? And it was always they had an experience with a person with a disability or somebody with Down syndrome, whether it be good, where, they live next door, they're my friend, or they live down the street and I never talked to them. And I don't want my kids being that person. I want them exposed early on. I want them to have a place where they can go and be introduced to kids with Down syndrome, because a lot of times they're not in the classrooms. They don't meet them at school, or when they do, they're in a different classroom, which means they don't belong with them. And that's not okay. And so that to me, that was one of the real reasons I've always wanted to keep Gigi's volunteer run, because I know that it plants a seed, just like you said, in that volunteer, and it changes who they are. It changes, they become instant. We call it the ripple effect.
Their outlook on life completely.
Yes. Yeah. And then they tell other people, and they stick up for our kids. And, it's just an amazing thing happens when you're exposed to people that may be different than you.
So I'm excited for your son. and for you guys too.
Yeah.
In the fact that you
So
just
cool.
your whole life's perspective is completely different.
Yeah.
Especially when you grow up around it your entire life. I mean, it just makes you see people a lot differently. And people see, and people that you see that you don't see differently. I mean, they see you in a different way too. They see that you're really seeing them for who they are.
Yes.
Rather than more than a diagnosis.
Well, and Franco never saw at 6 years old. He didn't see a difference in Gigi. Like he just always said, Down syndrome means that because Gigi had open heart surgery when she was 4 months old. So he was always like, oh, that means you have to get your heart fixed. Like to him, that Gigi
I thought it was a heart issue.
For years, he never thought Gigi was never different to him ever. It was just his little sister. That's always who she was.
She had to keep up.
Yeah. Right.
That's why she had to hook a worm at 2
That's
years
right.
old.
At 2 years old. Made her learn.
So bad. When I look at when she was 4 months old, I walk in, I was like, oh my God, she was sitting on the kitchen table. I had her in one of those chairs and all the car seat thing. And I'm like, I thought it was dried blood all over her face. He was feeding her Oreos. She wasn't even 4 months old. And it was just Oreo and he was in the kitchen feeding her Oreos. Yeah. So there's been no limits.
Older brother.
Yes.
Yeah, I was spoiling her.
No limits. We didn't have any sensory issues with food or anything because she had food, Oreos at 3.5 months old. None of that mattered.
For sure.
So you guys know our podcast is called A Little Something Extra. And your little something extra, it just makes you who you are. It's kind of your superpower. And what is your little something extra? Each one of you. Ashlyn, what do you think is yours?
That's a tough question.
It is a tough question.
It's what motivates you to
but-
want to go out and change the world. It's
And
your
sometimes you don't see
passion.
it in yourself. It's how other people see you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, then you answer the question.
No.
You're just teeing it up for
He's like, no, I'm not. I didn't have to go first.
Empathy. Probably. The ability to step into somebody else's shoes. Wow. And I think you're great at that too. Like there was a time this year when we had just finished a game. I think we were in maybe Milwaukee.
Yeah, it was
Milwaukee. And there was a little boy with Down syndrome standing at the side waiting to get a ball signed. And Jake walked right over and brought him down to the field and took a picture. And I was like, we had already known about her. We just had not told anyone yet. And I was standing there bawling. So I'm pregnant. And I looked at him and I was like, I felt what that kid just felt. And it's that there's he doesn't know yet, but he will know soon that there's someone out there that sees him for who he is, not his diagnosis.
Yes.
It would be empathy, because I think that's also what drives us, or at least drives me into knowing we want everyone to feel that way. We want all children
connected. Yes, accepted.
It's an ability, not a disability. And the more we see that and the louder we scream that, then others will be able to follow our lead.
100%. Oh, that's awesome. I was going to say strength for you, but I love empathy.
Thank you.
I love empathy.
Yeah. Strength?
Yeah.
I'm not physically strong, but
no, I would agree with that. I think the biggest thing is treating people with respect and love, no matter what they look like or what disability. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. We're all humans, and respect and love come first. And I think nobody knows what anybody's going through personally. Totally. It doesn't matter if the person that cut you off on the interstate, or it could be as minuscule as that. And I think I've always I think my experience those 3 years with my Achilles kind of taught me that.
It makes perfect sense.
Where you just have no idea what anybody's dealing with internally. And I think being able to treat people with the respect and love they deserve is by far the biggest thing. And I think, like you guys said, there's still work to be done in this space,
absolutely.
A lot of work. And so I think for us, it's using the platform we have to, help in that journey. And we believe we were chosen. I think it'd be a disservice to her and to the entire community if we don't do something about it. And so that's our driving force.
You guys are a gift from God. I love that. I want to meet her. You want to meet her? You're going to. She's like, I want to meet her. Seriously.
She's obsessed
now. She's obsessed. It's funny when you talk about that, when you say you don't know people are going through, and I wear my extra chromosome on a necklace every single day. And it's funny when you talk about, when somebody cuts you off, and I'm always like, you know what you do sometimes when you get cut.
Yeah.
And then I'm always like, I'm wearing my chromosome. You got to be more
Yeah.
like Gigi. What?
She's jealous of her body.
Oh, you're jealous. You're talking
But
about
you.
what?
You're jealous of her extra
Oh,
chromosome.
I am jealous. You're right. She goes, you're just jealous. It's in my whole body. I go, yes, I am. I am jealous of that. It is in her whole body, and I just get to wear it on a necklace, and then it's my reminder all the time to be better. And I think we have so much to learn from these guys. I truly believe they were sent here to teach and to love and to show us how to do the same. And I feel like you hear the same calling, brother. And whatever we can do to help you guys in your ventures moving forward, whatever you want to do in this space, we are here and we're on it. We will do anything. We have a social campaign called Generation G. Generation G is a conscious decision to be better every single day. Be generous, be kind, be accepting. And it's really now a civil rights movement that we're moving it into for individuals with disabilities. It seems like we kind of took a step back in the last few years. Just other things have bubbled up ahead of people with disabilities, and we've kind of lost our voice, and we're really working hard to get that back and get it back for our kids. We're going to be doing a lot in schools. I think that's an important place to start. I think that's the right place to start. Gigi with her book. We've got another book coming out. So it's there's actually Gigi's going to be a character. So there's the Harry Potter books.
Yeah,
this is called Harry Moon. And this is for, again, that K through 5th grade. And she's going to be like this mystical character that they have like in the Harry Moons. And then Gigi's Playhouse is this place where you find your powers. I know. So that's going to be in the school. So just cool stuff coming up that we have that, because I do think it's important that we get to
next
our
generation.
Yes. Really bring up that next generation too, so that we don't have to try to change them as they get older. They just grow up with that love and respect and acceptance for our kids, and not thinking they belong in another classroom or they belong somewhere else or not near me. And that's what Gigi's is about. Now we do birthday parties here, whatever it takes. Bring your typical kids here. That's, you know what I mean? Like that's what it's all about, is getting them in the door and creating that change. So, oh my gosh.
Pay for Penelope's generation.
I can't wait.
Yes.
Woo!
Pave the way for it.
Pave the way further too.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely.
Yes. Time. I said next generation, getting it started. I like it. I like it. I'm gonna kick back and watch you guys get it done. It's not easy.
I think we got it.
Yeah. It's not easy. It's hard to change the world, and that's truly what we have to do. And you have to change those perceptions. But you got a great platform and a great outlook on life, brother. I'm so proud of you, both of you, and the way that you've come together and stepped up, and that you're going to really show the world not only where Penelope belongs, but what she deserves in this world: the respect, the acceptance, the opportunities, all of it. And I'm so grateful that you're sharing it with the world and with all of us, and that you came on our podcast today. And I'm going to have Gigi, if you guys want to stick around for a minute, Gigi's going to give us some tips. You guys stick around for some tips?
Oh
Yeah.
Oh boy, we're going to have to see if she can sing tips with this cold. Let's see how this goes.
I can try.
Oh, you're going to try? Oh, I'm clearing my throat for you. See, I still enable her.
Did you say tips?
I did say tips.
Sorry.
Lost it at the end. That's okay. It was really good at the
All right,
beginning.
try to
I'll
get.
try it.
I'm sorry.
That was really good.
Did you say tips?
I did say tips.
Tips!
Woo! All right, she still got it in there.
Really
All right.
good.
Bad.
Even with a cold, you got this. All right, go ahead. What are your tips? I don't even know what her tips are about.
Facing the unknown.
Ooh,
Facing
facing
the
the
unknown.
unknown. I like it.
Always be curious, not worried.
Not worried. Oh,
Be curious.
Don't worry about what you can't control.
oh, I like that.
Take baby steps.
Take baby steps.
Okay.
Be excited about your journey.
Be excited about your journey. Oh, nice.
Always trust yourself.
And always trust yourself. I love that.
Like, those are good tips.
And those are my tips.
She's like, if I get another chance to sing, I'm just going to do it.
I want to.
Through a cold too. I mean, it's incredible.
Better than my normal voice.
Yeah. I'd butcher that, Ed.
Oh my gosh. Yes, she's a fan. She sang the national anthem at the Cubs game, the Sox games, with Scotty McCreery at a country concert.
Mm-hmm.
She's been, yes, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, she's killing it. That's
I'm doing it again.
She really wants
at
to do
the
it
Cubs
again
game.
at a Cubs
Yep.
game.
she was
this
supposed to
year.
do it this year, but she did it last year. I'm like, you don't do it every do it at different
Make it special.
stadiums. Like I said,
Yeah.
we'll do different
But
stadiums.
I'm doing the Bears.
Yep, with Bear, she's
If we
doing
can
everything.
make that happen,
So-
I'd love
Well,
to.
maybe we can get you to Miami.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh my God, our Miami Playhouse would love it. They beg for us to come down there all the time,
Oh, yeah.
and it's been a while. So that would give us a good excuse. You guys might be the excuse that we need to get our butts down there, especially in the winter.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
It'll be hot.
We'll do early spring.
Yeah.
We'll do the first games in spring. That's for sure. Well, thank you guys so much. Was there anything else that you guys want to talk about that we didn't touch on?
No.
We touched on a lot. Well,
Yeah, I mean, we could talk to you guys.
For a very long
oh
time.
my gosh, I can't wait till we're
an hour in, and we can
I'm
keep
sorry,
going.
I know, but I can't wait till we meet you guys in person and I get to hold that little stinker. Look
Nope,
at her
I
right
am.
there. Okay, no, Jeech gets to fine.
Thank
She's
you.
a whole
Daddy's girl,
first.
that's for sure.
She is perfection.
sure.
Oh yeah. No good. Oh my God, she's perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show. We are just in awe of everything that you're doing. You're showing the world, you're really showing the world pure acceptance. You're showing them courage. You're showing them not to be afraid of the unknown, because that's really all it is it's just something a little different. So I just have, you're just really standing up, and I'm just so proud of you guys and so blessed to know you, and just your spirit is amazing. And Penelope, we can't wait to follow her journey because it's going to be amazing. Yay.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Everybody is born with a little something extra, and sometimes they just have to find it. A little something extra is that superpower that every single one of us has inside that motivates us and drives our passion and makes us do the things that we do.
We're all on the same team. Let's think about how we can make that team as inclusive as we can.
For those of you listening to our podcast right now, you can also check out our video podcast at alittlesomethingextrapodcast.org.